Welcome back, everyone. Wow, it's been quite a while. Actually, I believe the last time I uploaded something was Memorial Day, and here it is Father's Day, and I'm getting around to actually shooting a video. I think first of all, let's start by saying Happy Father's Day to every father out there, or godfather, or grandfather, father-to-be. I guess this is the best day of the year for us dads, and we kind of get to pick and choose what we want to do. And of course, you know, for a lot of us, maybe that's rail fanning or working on the layout, or maybe just spending time with the family. You know, God forbid. For Father's Day today, my wife asked me what I felt like doing. And so first things first, she and I went out for a nice bike ride. We're finally having some great weather here in Wisconsin. It was 80s today, and so we went out on a nice big ride. And that works out perfect for me because we are about to embark, or I'm about to embark, along with hundreds of other riders in what's called the Tour of America's Dairyland. And I'm going to put a link in the show notes just so you guys can get an idea of what we're doing. And I'll say, as cyclists in Wisconsin, especially people who race, we're blessed with having a really neat circuit of races. It's 11 straight days of races every day, and it's really professionally run. Now, it's not Tour de France or anything like that, or even Tour of California, but it's still really a kind of a neat setup. And it kind of goes around in the southern Wisconsin area, southeast Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin. And so I'll be racing 10 straight days, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be a physical toll by the time it's all said and done. So I thought, well, let's shoot a video before that all kicks off. So the other thing I did today, the second thing when my wife asked what I wanted to do for Father's Day, was go to the hobby shop. So one of the things I saw a review on train orders, where a gentleman posted a video of one of the Athearn's new 57-foot mechanical reefers. And so I decided I wanted to get one of those. So I went and I picked up one of the solid cold, the Fruit Growers Express. Now, I did a little bit of research, and this car was built in the early 80s. In fact, well, this particular car was, but it has a build date of 1983, and I found pictures of this car running. There were some pictures uploaded to Railroad Picture Archives as late as 2010. So I know that this car will fit in the era somewhere with Wisconsin Central. So the neat thing about this car, and one of the reasons why I wanted to get it, is it's the sound-equipped version. It sounds kind of weird. I was like, I'm not real sold on that. I'm not huge on sound in the engines. But I do like, you know, it's a little bit of ambience, if that's the right word, when you're running your trains. So I thought, well, let's see what this one is, or how it sounds. So we'll do a quick review of that. I'll give you some close-up shots of the details, and we'll get it on the layout, and I'll fire it up so you can hear the sound on it. And then the other car that I picked up was a Fox Valley HO scale boxcar. This is a 7-post box in Wisconsin Central. Nothing real special about it, but you know, just one of the a real highly detailed model. And for all you local Wisconsin guys, I went to Hiawatha Hobbies, and you can check them out on the web. I'll put a link in the show notes to them as well. A great little hobby shop, great prices. I got both of these cars for under $100, which actually is a little bit of a deal because this one alone, retail MSRP is closer to $75, I believe. You know, so I got a slight deal on it, and happy to support the local hobby shop when I can. I was glad that they had them in stock so I could get them there. So let's flip over to the workbench, and we'll get a close-up of some of the details on this Pacific Fruit Express car, or Fruit Growers Express car. Sorry, getting my reefers mixed up here. One of the interesting things about the car is it comes with an instruction manual, like you know a lot of cars do. It shows you assembly. It's got all the phases on here and the different changes that the car went through over time from the early builds to, you know, late modifications. Now I do believe that some of these were converted from their early style compressors and the refrigeration units. I believe that they were changed over at some point. I'd have to do more background reading on that. So I think that the sound is also different depending on the era that the cars are supposed to represent. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that that's the case. So it also has, you know, it's the first car I've ever gotten that's got an instruction manual for your soundtracks. It's not a DCC decoder per se. It runs off a track voltage, and it recognizes whether it's DC or DCC. But you can't control. There's no CV values. There's a sound adjustment volume level, but it's just a potentiometer. So you just can adjust the volume that way. I didn't crack the top of this open yet. I heard that you'll want to turn it down. It's cranked way up, and it can kind of get, you know, a little bit too loud. But this kind of walks you through the whole process, so you get the instruction manual with that. So let's take a look at the car itself. Okay, so here's a shot of the detail of the car. You can see it's individually applied wire grab irons, you know, and ladders. But these grills are actually kind of the neatest part. And I don't know if it'll show up, but I'm gonna shine a light through. But you can kind of see they're somewhat see-through. And there's actually what appears to be a compressor inside the this area here, which would be true to scale as well. So it's kind of some neat detail in there. But those are definitely see-through wire mesh screens, and the printing on it is just outstanding. As far as I can see, there's no real glue marks on here. I know that that's a complaint sometimes in the, you know, pre-made, ready-to-run cars, but it's this one's definitely very clean. It's got the brake or the coupler release coupler releases here. Is that the right term? Probably not. But individually applied crossover platform there, and again the ladders, and so it's kind of neat too. You know, I'll show it on the bottom here if you can see, but you can see that on the bottom of these wheel sets they actually have pickups. There's copper pickups here, possibly, I think these are copper, and they make contact with the let's see if it'll show up or not, but there's actually, it's making contact with the axle here, and that's it's two truck pickup because both trucks have it. And I didn't disassemble it to see how the wires are run into it, but the underbody detailing is quite good as well. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. There we go. But you can see it's got individual brake lines, all the individual piping and stuff like that. So it's an area, part of the car that you really won't see much, but it's still detailed pretty well. And here's a shot of the end. Let's see if we can get it to focus here. Come on. There we go. But you know, this is one of those cars that I'm almost afraid to take any weathering powders to. It's just so nice. I'll probably dull up the wheels a little bit, just because they got quite a shine to them. I got to be careful with that, though. You don't want to ruin the conductor. You know, this is one of the first cars where you actually need power getting into it, so you don't want to gum up the works there. So that's that car. Let's switch over to the layout and turn it on and see what it sounds like. Alright, so here it is. It's in the scrapyard, but this is actually one of the better locations I have where I can get up nice and close to the layout. So here we go. I'll power on the layout here. Layout is powered on. Okay, and as expected, so after a period of time, it kind of shuts down, and that it's supposed to do that, so that's kind of nice. It is a little bit loud, actually. When I fired it up for the first time, my wife said, "Wow, it's loud." I'm like, "Yeah, we might need to adjust that volume a little bit." But overall, I think it's kind of neat. Oh, I guess it's warmed up inside the car a little bit, so it fires back up. Well, I wanted to add this to the video here. I took the top off, and the roof is just held on by a friction. It even says in the instruction manual in this section here, it tells you how to adjust the volume. And again, this is where it highlights that there is no mute function, address, CVs, etc. to modify. But it does, however, mention that if you turn the volume, you can turn the volume all the way off by turning the potentiometer completely to the left. Turning it counterclockwise will turn it and mute it. So the roof came off very easily. One thing you want to be careful of when you take it off, there is this little, I'm not sure what it's supposed to simulate. Let's see if it says it on it says smoke jack early with flapper, according to the, so this must be the exhaust stack for the compressor. And so while we've got this off, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it at all. Maybe I grab my flashlight here and I can shine it in there. But there you can see there's the compressor, the simulated compressor in there. And then this is the internals of it. So here's the soundboard itself. Again, it's not DCC. It just runs off of, you can see the leads coming in. And then here's the speaker, and it's in a small housing. And then there's that potentiometer. It's going to be a little bit difficult to see, but with the lights off. But the potentiometer is there, just a little dial looking device. So you can adjust that pretty easily, and then pop the top back on. And there are locator tabs here, but they're not used to hold it in place. It's strictly just a friction press fit, basically. So there you go. Snaps back on. Looks like we got a little. It snaps on pretty well. It doesn't have a bow or anything to it, so it works out okay. So I adjusted the volume. I was going to put it back on and see how the volume is, but with the cover or the roof off, that's going to affect how it sounds. The speaker's going to be louder. So really, in effect, I kind of got to put the roof back on after adjusting the volume. I turned it down quite a bit. I actually turned it all the way off and then came back up a little bit. I think you get about 2.5 turns full swing all the way. So we'll see how that did. Okay, so here's the Fox Valley model 7-post boxcar. This is a Wisconsin Central unit, and no sound in this one, just a standard boxcar. But Wisconsin Central had tons of boxcars, and I love the fact that really, especially in the Wisconsin area with Canadian National, having bought them, really a train doesn't go by where you won't catch at least one Wisconsin Central boxcar. And I've seen them everywhere. On if you're watching YouTube videos, you'll see them in CSX trains and Norfolk Southern trains, UP trains. Their boxcars were really well done when they rebuilt them, and they did a great job. And it's kind of a testament to the guys who rebuilt them, because they're still around years after Wisconsin Central was purchased and became part of Canadian National. So nothing real extraordinary on this, but I think it's great to point out again, individual wire grab irons, really crisp lettering. The paint job is very, very smooth, and I'd have to look up and see how accurate this is in terms of the locations of lettering and if all the panels are the right size. I'm not a rivet counter, obviously, as you probably can tell from my previous videos. Good enough is close enough for me. So if this is a little bit off, it might be, but again, it's good enough for me. And we're derailing here. And But again, it's got metal wheel sets, and it actually has metal Katy couplers on it instead of a McHenry, so I don't have to worry about replacing those. So that's kind of nice. But again, etched metal crossover platforms, wire grabs individually applied, wire or ladders, and brake wheel. So. And again, I don't see many glue spots or anything on this, so that's always nice. Granted, it's one car. It doesn't make a total. You need a few more cars to have a sample size there, but for this car, it came out quite well. And again, you can show you the end detail here if it comes into focus well. She's losing focus. Focus on the car, please. There we go. I'll try as well. So you can see some good detail on the end platforms. And a little bit of, well, this one's got quite a bit of underbody detail as well. Individual brake cables, or brake lines rather. I've been working on my bike too much. Brake cables. Brake lines, and you see the metal wheel sets. No electrical pickup there though. Well, there you have it, folks. Some quick product reviews. I thought I'd get something up. I haven't posted in a while, like I said. Race season's kind of coming to a close. It looks like I'm in a points race for first place, so it looks like I've got to finish all the races this year to stay ahead of the guy in second. So the season continues on until the end of July, but with it getting warmer out, I might migrate to the basement just to cool off a bit and get some modeling in again. And so the sound on the unit, as you can see or hear, it's going by again. I'll probably play with the sound level, see if I think it might need to be turned down a little bit. So that's somewhat of a welcome sound. What isn't a welcome sound is the sound of an engine hitting the floor. While shooting this video, I must be out of practice running the layout. I have a lift-out bridge that takes the layout across an opening. I forgot to put the lift-out bridge in. One of the projects that I have is that when the lift-out bridge isn't in, it cuts the current and voltage to the tracks on either side to prevent this from happening. Guess which project I haven't gotten around to yet? guess which project's going to be next on the list? Unfortunately, and of course, I thought I'd show off my custom-made, well, custom-detailed Kato SD45 with my ditch lights and everything like that, and add it to the video and you know, have it running. That was the one that was on the front of the train. That's the one that hit the floor. And at first, I thought it wasn't too bad. I don't know if this is going to show up or not. That's the coupler. It's got a nice little bend to it. I don't know that Kato or Katie makes a coupler with that type of bend in the shank. I thought, oh, okay, that's not so bad. The coupler bore the brunt of it. You know, it was kind of realistic actually. It jammed itself into the pilot, and I thought, oh, look at that. Kind of imitating life, or art imitating life, or vice versa. Yeah, that wasn't the only part that got bent. Unfortunately, the frame of the engine is bent as well. I'm going to see if I can bend it back. Maybe that might be the next video. Push comes to shove, none of the details were really damaged, so that's the good news. It was just some of the Plano brass etched stairs that I had put in popped out, but those can be re-glued in. None of the detail parts, the shell itself is intact, so just the frame. I can always order a new frame from Kato Parts, I would hope. If not, I'm going to be scouring eBay or HO Interchange Group for a new frame for it. So, but anyway, thanks again for watching. I hope you found the review of the new Athearn 57-foot Mechanical Reefer with sound worthwhile, and then of course the Fox Valley Models Boxcar as well. So hopefully unbiased review. I think they're both great cars. Again, I'm not really counter, so if they might not match exactly, well, I don't know. You'll have to do that research and determine that. But for the most part, I think they're pretty good models. And again, thanks for watching, and hope to have a video up again in the near future. Thanks a lot, everyone. So just a quick follow-up, since I was able to fix the Kato SD45 that decided to take the nosedive. Frame was actually bent on both sides. I'm really not sure how that happened. I know she went over, off, had to have nosed down based on the rear coupler. So I believe she did a flip in midair. I believe landed directly on the coupler, but unless she bounced and then landed on the front coupler. Amazingly enough, the only real damage, like I said, was a few of the custom Plano steps that I put on, which I can easily super glue back on. The frame was slightly bent, but I was able to bend it back without damaging it as far as I can tell. And she's pretty flat. I put a ruler to it, a straight edge, and it's back as straight as it was, as far as I can tell. So I really kind of escaped that catastrophe. Because it went so easily, I didn't have much to do, so no real video to follow up on that one. Just a quick tidbit that the engine wasn't as damaged as I first thought it was going to be. So, whew. Otherwise, that was a lot of hard work down the drain. So, thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you next video.